You're listening to Reality Derby, a Gold Derby podcast hosted by Marcus James Dixon and Denton Davidson.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Reality Derby. It is February 19th, 2025. And Denton, today's episode is going to knock you out, isn't it?
It is. We've got Oscar De La Hoya, the golden boy, who was Fuzzy Peas on The Masked Singer. So we're going to talk to him about that experience, and we get into his career a little bit. So it's a fun interview.
And then we have a lot of shows that we're going to be talking about, including The Traitors, Episode 8, A Bitch is Lying, Deal or No Deal Island, Episode 7, Snakes in the Grass, RuPaul's Drag Race, Episode 7, Snatch Game, the fourth episode of the Challenge All-Stars Rivals, and the third set of blind auditions from The Voice Season 27. So this is a lot. Let's
A
just
lot
get
to get into.
into Oscar right away. What do you say?
All right, here's Oscar De La Hoya. Joining our Reality Derby show today is an artist formerly known as Fuzzy Peas on The Masked Singer, a boxing legend, the golden boy himself, Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar, what a ride. I thought you might be okay because it was Shrek night and everything was green, but
Right.
Fuzzy Peas went home. What happened?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm up against some tough characters. I mean, these guys can belt. These guys can sing. But you know what? It was surprising actually to me because you think, okay, you're doing well, you're singing good, former Grammy nominee, this and that. But I have to tell you one thing: the other characters are like true professionals. They can sing. My gosh, it's incredible. This season's gonna be amazing.
What made you decide to go on the show this season? And had you thought about it before?
You know what? When Fox approached me, I had already done the Masked Dancer, and so the reason behind it is because, man, when you're behind a mask and nobody knows who you are, and the world is like guessing, and you can be yourself, you can be silly, you can like your true personality comes out, and that's what I loved about being in the Masked Dancer. So when they called me for the Masked Singer, I was like, man, I'm in. I'm in. There's no ifs or buts. I am in because you're having such a good time and nobody knows who you are and you can just be yourself and that's it. And so um, nervous as heck when you're out there on stage because it's obviously not being inside the ring. I'm out of my element, but once you see the crowd, once you see the lights, the stage, the judges, but you're literally hiding behind the mask. It makes things much easier. So man, I had the best time of my life.
Well, you kept it fun. You kept it upbeat. You sang my go-to karaoke song, La Bamba. I mean, I loved that movie as a kid. Did you watch that movie?
I did. It's my favorite song, man.
Yes. So you did that, and you also sang I'm a Believer, another up-tempo.
Yeah.
No ballads. Were you worried about that? Because a lot of times they like something more emotional. So were you a little nervous when you had two up-tempos in a row?
I wasn't nervous, but I was thinking to myself, okay, if I stay on for the next two shows, okay, and I pass, I'll have some ballads next time. It's my forte. You sing those little romantic songs. Um, but no, I was actually very comfortable with the songs. I was gonna sing. I was actually gonna pick Tequila, which only has like thing like two words in the whole song. But La Bamba was perfect. We had such a blast. The choreography, everything was just perfect. It was amazing. Again, it was shocking to leave the show, but I had a blast.
Guys like us, we didn't have playlists growing up. We had like records, tapes, CDs.
Yeah, right.
Who did you listen to like prepare for a fight or even as musical influences when you were growing up? Who were your favorite artists?
Oh my gosh. I mean, growing up, I was like listening to Nirvana. I was listening to Ozzy Osbourne. I was listening, let's see, to who? Oh, Madonna. Listening to, Iron Maiden. I mean, I'm taking you back to those rock and roll days where they were just, amazing. Judas Priest and, those types of bands. So I was always like a rock and roller. But yeah, I did love, growing up, yeah, the Madonnas of the world.
Yeah. And you're world famous, but a lot of people don't know that you do have, a music background. You were nominated for Best
Yeah,
Latin Pop Album
yeah.
2001. You hinted at that in the clue package. You lost to Shakira.
To
Uh,
Shakira, yeah.
What was the experience like being nominated and getting recognition for something other than boxing, which is so different?
Well, I guess what people don't know is that I come from a musical family. My mother used to be a professional singer way back in the day. And so I would sing with her when I was growing up as a kid at home, just belting out tunes every single day. So I kind of have that ingrained in me a bit. And so when I decided to cut an album in the middle of my boxing career, I mean, keep in mind, I was world champion. I was like 26 years old in the prime of my career. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to cut an album. So we cut this album. We have like songs from Diane Warren, who is amazing. And so this album gets nominated for a Grammy. So it's hilarious because I'm nominated with Shakira, I'm nominated with Christina Aguilera, and then you have me, who it's like, I mean, what are you doing there, right? But
It's also such a compliment because so many athletes make albums and they're just sort of
yeah,
embarrassing. Like it's kind of like,
sure, sure. No, this
but this
album
is a
was
lot of
actually really
respect.
good. Yeah, it had great producers. I took it really serious. I mean, and like I said, I come from a musical background, so it's something I really wanted to do for the memory of my mother because she passed away from breast cancer. So I did it. I was happy with it. I was content, but obviously I had to go back to boxing.
Your clues also teased an Oscar, and they sort of went towards Oscar nominee, and they didn't realize you were like putting it right on the nose.
Exactly.
They ended up guessing Cesar Millan, Pitbull, Antonio Banderas, and John Leguizamo. What did you think about those guesses?
Yeah, the dog whisper. I was like, oh, okay. I'm a dog lover, but not a whisper. I think Antonio Banderas was great. I mean, yeah, when they said Oscar, like, hello, like I was like kind of like so giddy because I thought somebody was gonna guess it, and I actually had a pin of '92, which is Barcelona, the gold medal in 1992 that I won. So I thought they would maybe guess, something. But yeah, I mean, those clues, I guess, yeah, they were really good clues.
You also kind of faked him out because you're from California, but you really leaned into the accent. So was that to throw them off, or were you just having fun getting into some sort of character for you?
I was having so much fun. The fuzzy peas to me felt like an Antonio Banderas accent, in the, like Puss in Boots. Hey, how's it going? Oh, this is me. So I tried to play up to that. And obviously, it kind of threw off all the judges. So it was like it turned out perfect.
What was your thought about fuzzy peas when you got to the show and they're like, you're fuzzy peas?
When I saw Fuzzy Peas, and it's funny because they present the costume to you, and it's like they give you their reasonings. Like all the people from Fox, they give you their reasonings why Fuzzy Pea. So it's like if you notice, like there's three P's, and they all have like different smirks on their face or different personalities. That's totally me. It was totally me. Yeah, it's like there's one that's kind of like happy. There's one that's kind of like mischievous, and then there's another one that's kind of like shy. And they hit it right on the nail's head. It was perfect. That costume was amazing.
What was it like performing? Is it one of those ones that's difficult to move around in, or how did you feel up there?
You know what? I mean, they custom fit you for it. Um, yeah, it was a little hard to see from, because you have the whole stage, you have the lights, you have all these dancers, and everything's moving so fast. So when you're in rehearsals, you're doing it without the costume, so you can see everything and you feel confident and comfortable. But when you put that mask on, and your vision just like gets smaller and smaller, everything around you gets small and tight. It's a little difficult. But all they tell you there is, hey, just go out there and have fun. Just go have fun. And that's exactly what I did.
You had such a long, incredible career. When you look back on it now, what is the one moment that is like the ultimate highlight or maybe the most special for you?
Oh, the Olympic gold medal.
Yeah.
Pictures standing on the podium and listening to the national anthem of the USA. And it's like, and it was more special to me because my mother had passed away a few months prior to Barcelona from cancer. So it's like, and the story in the Olympics was, my gosh, Oscar's doing it for his mom. So it was emotional. It was nerve wracking. What if I fail? But once you're on that podium, you're holding that gold medal. Man, I'm getting the chills now. You listen to that song, and it's like just beautiful. That's my most prized possession ever. Nothing can ever take that away.
Where is it?
It's locked up in a safe place. Just locked up. You know, I made three replicas, so I can see them in various places that I have, in Las Vegas and LA. But the main original one, I locked it up.
Well, it was so much fun seeing you on The Masked Singer, and great to talk to you, Oscar De La Hoya. Thanks for
Thank
hanging
you,
out
brother.
with Reality Derby
Thank
today,
you,
and
my man.
congratulations.
Appreciate you.
Okay, so that was Oscar De La Hoya, and he was up against some tough characters, and he even admitted like this is a really good season. He said these guys can belt.
It's true. And one of the most fascinating things about it to me was that when we were talking, we talk about that he is actually a Grammy nominee. I mean, he was nominated for Best Latin Pop Album. So I thought that was pretty cool. But even he admits like these are actual pros. I'm just in here. And he sounded good. Like we had seasons where people just sound terrible when they go home, but everyone in this group was pretty decent.
Yeah, and I mean he made it 2 weeks, so he wasn't the first one out. That was Cedric the Entertainer, right?
Yeah. Honey.
Um, so at least he wasn't the very first person eliminated. That's always a positive. Okay, so let's get into the Traitors, which was, I mean, now that Rob's gone, do we even care what's going on?
Yeah, he kind of him being gone and the like path of destruction he left was like he took out everyone interesting and then he got kicked off. So I feel like the characters left are not as fun to watch as they once were. I mean, we
Yeah.
finally have Sam talking.
Oh yeah, he's still on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost Rob, Bob the drag queen, Wes, and Derek. Like these were all huge personalities, and now it is kind of. I worry that the show in the last half of the season is going to be a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah. And now even Chriselle, who I liked, like she was still sort of fun to watch just because she was kind of an emotional hot mess and um,
Yeah,
put herself out there. But so after she got eliminated, the most interesting thing to me was the coming back for breakfast. And it was very smart of them to be like, oh yeah, what was Alan wearing? I would
yep,
have never thought of that. And I would have
yep.
and the way Tom just like threw Carolyn a bone, like he just saved her.
They all are totally. Carolyn's not on any of their radars, which
No.
is really, really good. I think she's going to win this game.
He should have made her answer the question. Sam was like, no, no,
Yeah.
don't tell her. And like they just let her kind of skate by.
And
They
I,
should have let them see Alan probably. Like that,
yeah,
like they could have really destroyed the game. However, um, there may not have been a traitor that was up for murder, So like I guess wasn't necessarily
I think
service.
they should have put Carolyn through the exact same scenario that the other players did. She should have walked up the church hall, whatever you call it. She should have turned around and seen Alan so that she could have experienced what a faithful would have gone through. And I do feel like that was maybe a missed opportunity for the producers. Like if Carolyn all of a sudden is considered a traitor by her fellow players because of this, then that is not something she did. That's something that the producers did wrong.
Well, and Carolyn's saving grace is that she always looks like she has no idea what the fuck is happening. I
Always.
mean, she is always like the facial expressions are the best.
Yeah,
So she's hard to read because she looks confused, even if she knows what she's talking about.
I love it. Um, and Chriselle, they put Chriselle into a coffin and escorted her out of the church. I think every murder should be done this way. I've said before, like the breakfast reveals are kind of boring. This is way more exciting, and I think they should do this 100% going forward.
Yeah. I was sad to see Chriselle go, and I was actually surprised at how sad she was to go. These people get very emotional when they're eliminated. Like these are celebrities. These are not regular like contestants on everyday reality shows. So it's fascinating to see them get so sad and disappointed and sometimes even cry when they have to go home.
Hmm. So poor Sierra went home. It was almost unanimous, or was it unanimous? Let me pull up the votes.
I mean, I think it was unanimous other than her vote.
Other than her, it was 9-1. She voted for Brittany. Yep.
I mean, I think they had to do this, even if like they knew that she was a faithful. Like it was always going to be a question in their head: is someone in that coffin, was someone in that coffin a traitor? So, there's nothing she could do about it. I think this had to happen, and like, she's also like one of the lesser interesting people to see go. No offense.
Hmm. She
Um,
had a potty mouth. She was always saying
but
words.
I mean, yeah, it could have been worse. So, I mean, after all the great players and fun personalities that we've seen leave, I was okay with her leaving. I didn't want someone like a Brittany or a Carolyn or even a Danielle to go home because I think Danielle's probably going to be in the hot seat pretty soon here.
I know, but I've been saying that for at least 4 episodes. Like, oh, Danielle's gonna go home next week, and she doesn't even really get votes anymore. Like she got votes early on, didn't she? But not recently, especially with all the Rob drama that kind of took over the narrative. And so, I mean, now everyone at the round table is like, okay, yeah, the coffin theory, sure, let's just do that. And now I wonder now that she's gone, what are they gonna do? Like, are they all gonna go against Brittany?
Well, there are some people still saying Danielle's name. Like Carolyn had made this agreement to like be like, okay, like we're gonna have a clean slate, but people came to Carolyn sort of feeding them Danielle's name. So she's kind of like, oh God, what do I do? Because now
Hmm.
she has this opportunity, but then she'd be the only traitor left. Speaking of which, like at the end of the episode, Alan comes in, and of course, he's like, who are you
Yeah.
going to recruit? So that's going to be interesting.
They have an option though to not recruit. What do
They
you think
do.
they'll do? I think they should probably not recruit and they should murder a guy because all the guys are convinced that the girls are the traitors, so they need to leave as many girls in the game as possible. So get rid of all the guys. Sorry, Dylan, that means probably you're going home next, but I don't think they need to recruit.
I would get rid of Dylan as well. And I agree. I think they should just start going after the guys because that's already the theory. So just make it a deal and
Yeah.
demolish them. And that would also put a little bit of bubble wrap around Brittany because Dylan is the one really going after her because he's convinced now because Derek told him it's Rob and Brittany. And since it was Rob, Dylan now believes him that it was Brittany. And Carolyn said there's no way in hell she's letting Danielle recruit Brittany. And she's completely
Yeah.
right.
I know. That was a funny moment in the turret when she's like, "I'm not letting you recruit your best friend."
Your voice impression. I'm like Cookie Monster. Um, I mean, otherwise, because they're going after Brittany. Like it's gonna probably be her or Danielle that gets banished next, I would imagine, just because of that theory that's going around, started by Derek of all people. So I think they're either gonna, I would not recruit and kill Dylan, murder, but if they do recruit, I'm guessing they would probably pick Gabby.
Right. They would recruit a girl and then maybe throw her under the bus and give that blood in the water of you are right, it was a woman, see? And
Yeah.
then that kind of cleans the slate. There are only 4 guys left, Sam, Dylan, Ivor, and Tom, compared to 6 women, Dolores, Brittany, Danielle, Carolyn, Gabby. Oh no, five women.
And Sam and Ivor are like, to use Brittany's term, furniture. They
Yeah.
just they're
They're
not
off.
helping the show along. Tom is entertaining. That challenge when he was singing it, like
Oh,
do this challenge where the dolls were murmuring things and then they had to play it backwards or whatever. And then Tom thinks he's like this Grammy winning vocalist or something. So
I was hoping we
there's
could
two
avoid
challenges.
mentioning the challenge. I hate they do this challenge every year. It's usually bird calls, but now it's nursery rhymes and dolls. I just don't enjoy it at all. They really need to cut this from the show.
And Sierra got the shield, and Carolyn doesn't believe Danielle. Danielle was like, "Oh yeah, Sierra got the shield," and Carolyn was like, "You're a liar," which is
Yeah.
fascinating. Like, why would she lie about that? because she's not going to murder Brittany anyway. So like Carolyn is just very on the like,
Trust issues.
yeah, very on guard. She sort of explained her trust issues. Was that in a show or a video I watched where she was like, I've been cheated on. Uh,
Oh yeah. I think that was on the show. I feel like I saw that too.
I've been going down too many rabbit holes on social media of Carolyn videos.
Okay, well that's did you have anything else to add about the Traitors?
No, I mean, I think it's just going to be interesting to see what happens if they recruit or murder. So that's coming up Thursday, and that'll change the game, whatever they decide to do.
Right.
I hope they murder.
And the episode will be called A Silent Assassin. Ooh, I love these titles.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's move over to RuPaul's Drag Race. It was the Snatch Game episode. Everyone was looking forward to this, and I have to say it was a little bit disappointing. I still enjoyed it. Like there were a lot of great things. Anya doing Eddie Murphy, Lexi completely crashing and burning and getting kind of rewarded for doing that, for playing Gilbert Gottfried. But I guess, I'm mostly bummed because Susie 2, my number one, totally, totally faltered as Ellen Green from Little Shop of Horrors. When I heard she was doing this, I'm like, yes, that's perfect. She just didn't do it in a way that made her fans proud. So I
No,
guess that's my take.
I think that was the biggest disappointment that could have happened. I think Susie Toots is who we all wanted to see in this challenge, and for her to falter like that was extremely disappointing. And I would say, like, I had her as the front runner to win this season. I would move Anya
Yeah.
Nerve up to number one. I mean, I think to thrive, you definitely can't fail at Snatch Game. I mean, has anyone ever just totally bombed at Snatch Game and gone on to win? I don't know. Like,
Oh.
it has to be rare. You have to have the personality. I still think Susie Toot is up there because she is so funny and comedic, but that was a really bad episode for
Mhm.
her.
Yeah, and Anya, I think you're right. I think this is the new front runner after this week. She's won twice now, which a few of them have won twice. Um, so she's in this group with Susie Toot and oh, is that it? Anya Nerve and Susie Toot are the only ones that have won twice. Okay, so I mean, it's probably going to be one of them, and I think it's going to be Anya. So I need to switch my prediction to Gold Derby.
Yeah, I also really like Lexi Love, who did bomb, but she bombed so bad that they made it funny, at least. Like they were still laughing at her, if not with her. So it still gave her some points. And she
It,
just has the personality that I think she's going to be. I think those will probably be your top three.
Grandma Lexi. It makes me wonder if people in the future are going to start bombing on purpose to get RuPaul to laugh, which I don't want to see. Like this was a special moment for Lexi. I don't want people to copy this going forward.
Corey King was also in the commentary a lot this episode. So like
Yeah.
early on, I was like, oh. Corey King's probably going home because they featured their interviews so much, but um, she was safe. So it's interesting. Maybe she's gonna be one that's on the rise, but I still think there's definitely visible tiers of queens this season.
And we said goodbye to Crystal Envy. This was her first time in the bottom, but I mean, her Nicole Richie was just empty. I didn't feel anything. So I totally get why she went home. But then again, she was up against Lana Gerard. This was her second consecutive time in the bottom two. She won the lip sync twice in a row. Like, how much longer can Lana last? I feel like she's on her last legs. Very long legs, but last legs.
She's a lip sync assassin. Arietti was saved by her outfit. Also a terrible baby. Quinta
Oh,
Brunson
the
said she would
baby. Oh.
Quinta Brunson said she would abort that baby. Like she was like ruthlessly, she's like, I hate that baby. I would abort that baby. Um, she was vicious.
And Lana as Rosa Parks was just really bad. And I get that she had a joke in mind and Rue kind of ruined her flow. I totally get that. But you have
But
to.
Quinta had a really good point about someone like Rosa Parks is we all know this figure, but we have no idea what she sounds like. So you
Mm,
could really give her
Yeah.
Like just an extreme character that would be like so outside of the norm just to make it funny, just like, oh, I would never expect her to sound like that with a weird accent or but it was just a huge missed opportunity. You have to have a sense of humor to
Mhm.
thrive on this show.
Like like Bigfoot. We don't know what Bigfoot sounds like, but was it Jewel Sparkles that did her? Let me look. Yes, Jewel Sparkles, Miss Big Feet. So it's like she totally made this character her own, and that's something Lana did not do. And then we had Sam as the pageant coach, who I wasn't quite sure who Kim Gravel was, but I mean, I loved what Sam was doing. He's somebody else that I have my eye on.
And in case you forgot, this is the second time they've that someone has done this, like, what is it, a TikTok star? I don't even know who this person is, but she's now been featured in Snatch Game twice, which is alarming to me. Like
I
I
know.
mean, I'm not that hip, I guess, with TikTok, but I don't even know who this person is that's now been imitated twice on
We're
stage.
too old. We're way older than the oldest person on Drag Race, which is really sad.
Mm.
And then Lydia Butthole Collins did David Lynch, which I mean the timing is very interesting because David just passed away recently, but it was still it was fun.
Forgettable.
A little bit. Next week is the Rusical, The Wizard of Oz slash Wicked, and Adam Lambert is coming as the guest judge. That'll be very, very exciting.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay, everyone. So let's talk about Deal or No Deal Island, which we were both mad about the last week's episode. It ended on a cliffhanger. They didn't eliminate anyone. This week they eliminated Seychelles. Then they did a challenge. Then they came back and did another Deal or No Deal. And Dr. Will went home. I don't know how I feel about this. And he announced his retirement from reality TV.
I love that it was David that sent him home, though. The Australian survivor who Dr. Will was sort of calling out last week is like, were you on Australian Survivor without really knowing?
Mhm.
But Dr. Will, it's like he wasn't even really making a decent attempt to win. I think he's at this point more interested in making television and maybe going viral than actually winning. I mean, he was not setting himself up for success. He had basically the entire group of people hating him. So
Openly hating him. Yeah.
that opening segment, by the way, was very heated, with CK eliminating Seychelles,
Mhm.
and then Seychelles being, she said, um, "You're nothing but a cheat with a flat ass." I mean, it was getting personal up there. And then Philip was freaking out. I mean, everyone was sort of like, everyone's going a little nutso on this island right now.
Yeah. It's very trashy, and I very much enjoy it. I feel like Survivor used to be this, where people just screamed and yelled at each other. And it's not that anymore. Survivor is like a very happy type of show now. But Deal or No Deal Island is very controversial.
I wonder why they saved two eliminations for this episode. Like, why did they have to ruin last week so badly? I
I
mean,
have
because
no
they
idea.
still sent someone home this week at the end as well.
Hmm.
And then David got very lucky. It would have sucked if he would have went home. I'm actually like, I would prefer Dr. Will go home than David,
Yeah,
just
me
for
too.
the dynamic. But I mean, you get down to it, he had a 50-50 chance of going home.
Yep. I do love that there was a moment between David and Dixon where David was totally just playing up the idea of, oh, do you think there's a survivor in Australia? Oh, I should go on that. And he's already won it. But Parvati's the only person that knows, and I think she's going to keep a secret. I mean, I was getting very like showmance vibes between Parvati and David, even though she's not quite interested in his type. But were you getting that vibe as well? Like I think she's in love with this guy.
A little bit. I don't know what her relationship status currently is, and where she stands. I think she would consider herself fluid. So, I mean, you never really know, but I don't know if she's in a relationship or not at home. But there is definitely flirtatious vibes there. And Parvati's fun to watch just because she's living for the drama. Like the whole CK drama after that elimination, she was like, I cannot believe how she just like blew up everyone's game. And she's just part of my pleasure in this show is just living vicariously through Parvati's joy and watching like everyone's game just blow up in their faces around her. And she's just
Mhm.
sitting there like probably flying to another win.
Yeah, she's been safe either every single week or every week except one. Like she has not even been up for elimination. And if she just keeps this up, she's probably going to win the show. Okay, so what happened this week on the challenge, Denton?
On the challenge this week, another underwhelming week. You know, they have these challenges and they keep throwing Adam and Steve in. Like Adam and Steve were one of the top competitors the very first week. So now they just decided, okay, we're gonna vote them into elimination every week. And then they've been putting them up against because none of the winning teams that vote anyone in want to get blood on their hands. So they just keep throwing in the weakest team. So for another week in a row, Adam and Steve, these two tough guys, sent home another girl team. And this time it was Anissa and Ashley, which was disappointing to see because Ashley in particular brings a lot of drama to the show. And she's not someone I wanted to see go home this early. So it's kind of boring. It's kind of like how many times are you going to make Adam and Steve go against a girl team? And I sort of wish the rules were different, and I wish that the loser of the challenge would automatically have to be up for elimination, like a lot of seasons past have. But at this point, it's all a popularity contest. So it was fine. I am rooting for Adam and Steve. I just wish that they weren't constantly like throwing out all the girl teams every week.
Every
And
time you say
probably
Adam,
continue.
every time you say Adam and Steve, I think of God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
I think of that too. They've actually never referenced that. I've been waiting for someone to say that, but yeah, it was an okay episode. It's another show that I like. I just want some drama to happen, and I need two good teams to face off in that elimination.
Hmm. All right. So before we go, we should mention what's going on The Voice, season 27.
Ooh.
We had another blind audition episode, and the four-chair turn was Connor James. He went to Team Adam. And then there was another four-chair turn, Bidi. Am I pronouncing that right?
It's like he goes by like an acronym, so his name is like BD, and then he's on the show he said a last name, and then he's the second. So I think this is just some sort of weird abbreviation because his name as an artist is BDII. But I'm just gonna call him BD,
BD. BD was a four-chair turn. He went to Team John Legend. So good for John.
which is suicide for him. If you're a great soul singer like BD is, don't go to John Legend. I mean, he will tank your game immediately. He can't win. If you notice, like it's in the artist's best interest to go against the grain.
Yeah.
Like he should have gone with like Michael or Kelsey or even Adam. And even John, when he won with, Malin Jarman, who was not this soul singer. She was so full, almost more like an Adele type of artist. But it does you no good if you're like a soul singer to go with the soul coach. It
Yeah.
only works if you're a country artist on a country team because country fans are insane and you already have the advantage on this show.
Yeah, you always want to defy expectations and go with a coach that can basically challenge you, that can teach you things you don't know about yourself. And so, yeah, I would never pick the coach that I'm most like. I would pick the coach I'm most, different from.
Like Sonofrio is not like Michael Bublé. And the closest comparison I can make to BD is when Cam, is his name Cam, won with Blake. It was like a
Mhm.
big, like they were shocked he went with Blake and then he ended up winning. So I mean, yeah. But Johnny Ray, or no, not Johnny Ray. Johnny Ray was a no turn. Connor James does have winning potential for
Yeah.
Adam. He is one of those sort of big voiced men, and maybe a little reminiscent of Jordan Smith. That's who Adam compared him to. And
Okay.
he's going to go far on this show.
Um, yeah, and how's Kelsey Ballerini doing? This is her first time as a coach. She kind of sat in for Kelly Clarkson one season when Kelly was sick. So she's been in a chair before, but this is her first chair that she can call her out.
She's okay. I think she's a little bit forgettable. I think this season's really all about Adam and Michael. Those are the two people want to see. Um, John has always been safe. He's a likable person, but
Yeah.
he's not too exciting. And Kelsey's sort of in that same boat. I mean, she's trying, but
Coming up on the next Masked Singer episode is the Rat Pack Tribute Night. So that'll be exciting. We have Ant versus Paparazzo versus Coral. Who do you think is going to win from Group A?
I would guess Ant. That would be my guess. And I think it helped. Like we still don't know for sure who these people are. I mean, we have our spoilers out there. We have ideas, but we don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Generally, it helps to be like the biggest star in your group as well,
Hmm.
which, that could be Ant.
I
So
think it's Kesha. I have no inside knowledge. I think, oh, don't make that face at me.
here's why I don't think it's Kesha, unless she's being super shady, because she sang "Wide Awake" by Katy Perry in this episode. Katy Perry and her, not good, because Katy Perry on her most recent album worked with the producer that Kesha accused of sexual assault.
Hmm.
So like for her to go on and sing a Katy Perry song, I mean it would be a very twisted statement for her. I don't know. Maybe you're right. I
I'm
feel like
always
this
wrong.
is I feel like we're maybe heading in the wrong direction there. So we might want to reevaluate some of those clues.
If you think I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong. I've been wrong every season for 13 seasons in a row. I don't remember the last time I got somebody right. I was so convinced that the peacock was Neil Patrick Harris instead of Donny Osmond. I would have bet money on it.
It's interesting they're like sticking with Group A though. Like they change the format every season. Like
It's
there's
so stupid.
and they like we still don't know if there's
A bell.
a bell. Like they'll probably just bring one out someday. Like they're just like throwing anything to see what sticks at this point, and they don't even care.
Yeah, they don't have any rules or anything. It's just whatever works. I wonder if that has to do with celebrities' schedules. Like, so and so makes it to the next round, but hey, I have a thing this week. I can't perform this week. So then they push the whole group back. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I think for the clues, after the clues, we need to really like go in depth through the former Dancing with the Stars contestants because it's all recycling.
Yeah,
Also
that's
interesting from that Oscar interview earlier, he talked about that he was on The Masked Dancer. I totally forgot that. Remember that one season of Masked Dancer? He got fourth place
yeah.
instead of Zebra. So he had a little masked experience.
I love it. Well, thank you everybody for watching Reality Derby this week, and we'll be back next week with more recaps, more interviews, and more fun.